You know, one thing that I always find very interesting is that when you have a blockbuster trade, there's always other, I don't know what you call them, backdraft trade rumors that come out. Like really, really interesting stuff that, like, now we knew this was on the table, or we knew this team had another trade going on. And this blockbuster trade with Mikko Rantanen is no different. We got a lot of interesting tidbits about like Elias Pettersson and JT Miller. We're going to be focusing a little bit more on JT Miller in this video because I certainly do believe that he and a lot of other insiders believe that he will be the player that is eventually traded from the Vancouver Canucks. Now, we know that the Carolina Hurricanes were believed to be one of the front runners for JT Miller. That's what came out last night, that he almost got traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, it is interesting that the Carolina Hurricanes eventually went ahead and got an even bigger fish in Mikko Rantanen. I don't know what you guys think, but I think Mikko Rantanen is an absolute, unabashed superstar. But it is interesting that he almost got traded here. I actually also heard that Elias Pettersson almost got traded to the Carolina Hurricanes as well. Now, as anything happens in trade scenarios, we're looking at essentially a situation where there's going to be a domino effect now. So now we know that the Carolina Hurricanes are at least done big game hunting. So they've already gotten their big game, but it does not end there. We know they're going to keep on going now. But the team that is in the running with the Carolina Hurricanes is, as we've said, New York Rangers. I have mentioned them multiple times. It seems that this is the team that is in on them. The trade scenario included Lindgren. I know that the Vancouver Canucks have wanted Braden Schneider, though, just to be fair. They've absolutely wanted Braden Schneider, and we've known this for a while. The New York Rangers absolutely do not want to give him up, though. Now, the interesting part about it is in this insider information, we know that Necas was not an option for the Vancouver Canucks. Like, essentially, I don't know if he wasn't willing to go there or something like that. I'm not exactly certain, but that was not an option for them. So, I mean, maybe they just didn't want to give up that player for JT Miller, but they were willing to give Necas up for Rantanen, for example, which actually does make a decent amount of logical sense. Now, one other team that is interested also in him and JT Miller is the Boston Bruins have also been named as another team that's interested in him. So this is getting spicy. I wonder, I still think that JT Miller will ultimately end up going to New York. Again, as I've said before, they're going to need to get a center back, which is why they're going to have to get back probably Hedl. And if they don't get Hedl, they're going to have to get a center that has a no movement clause, which is obviously going to be very complex because when you have a no movement clause, it's very difficult to move a player. So Thomas Drance did recently say that it is Hedl, Lindgren, and some picks. I think that what's stalling this trade from the Vancouver Canucks point of view is they wanted Schneider before Lindgren, right? That's probably what's going on. Now, I actually said Hedl, Schneider, and a pick, which is pretty much exactly what Thomas Drance said. It's just, obviously, I'm not involving... it's not the exact same. I'm just changing around the defensemen. I think that this is what's holding up the trade. I think that they really want Braden Schneider. The one thing that I would preface this with is that Vancouver Canucks fans, you need to be aware that you are more than likely not going to get a great trade scenario. I know that's hard to deal with, but it's true. When you trade a player like JT Miller, even Jason Strudwick said this, which is that you're simply more than likely not going to get fair value for that player. It's an unfortunate reality, but when you trade a star player like that, you're never going to get a proper hockey trade. It very rarely happens. Like, for example, when you have the Rantanen and Necas trade, that was kind of like a hockey trade a little bit. Like, Necas is really, really good, right? So it was kind of a hockey trade. But in this situation, I very much doubt that's going to happen. I think that the Vancouver Canucks are going to not get as much value as they think back, unfortunately. Which is why I've always advocated if you could just keep JT Miller, you probably should. But it doesn't, unfortunately, seem to be working out at this time. It is interesting, though. In that article from Thomas Drance, he said that the interrupting factor was the draft picks involved. So he disagreed by saying that it was more the draft picks, that the Vancouver Canucks didn't mind taking Lindgren on. I find that a little bit surprising. I think that from what we're hearing, the Vancouver Canucks really like Braden Schneider, so I can't imagine why they wouldn't go after a player that they have reported really like. Maybe the New York Rangers are just putting their stamp down and saying it's absolutely not happening. I don't know exactly, obviously. So again, I want to hear what you guys think on this trade scenario. I also want to hear what you guys think about the Rantanen trade last night. We usually don't see stuff like that, and that was absolutely insane. When the Rantanen trade dropped, I was like, oh my god, Vancouver's got to be involved in this in some capacity, just because there's been so many trade rumors around Vancouver that I figured, it just makes logical sense. But again, I would bet almost anything that the Vancouver Canucks are going to move him, and I do believe that they are eventually going to move him to the New York Rangers. And I'm telling you right now, Philip Hedl is going to be the centerman coming back. That's my prediction anyway, because remember, they have to get a center back, and you have a couple of centers, their top 6 centers from the Rangers that have full no-move clauses. So that's the only thing that makes logical sense in terms of the center coming back. That is what I ultimately think it's going to be. The Carolina Hurricanes obviously got done, but we're still waiting on the New York Rangers. We're still waiting on the Vancouver Canucks. And again, I am saying if you're going to trade one of them, I've been consistent on my analysis on this. I do not think you should trade Elias Pettersson. He's too young, he's too good, he has too much potential, although the JT Miller is really, really good too. It's just, I guess unfortunately they just can't figure it out with him. Now I want to hear what you guys think about the Carolina Hurricanes clearly being involved in almost trading for JT Miller. Did they make the right decision by getting Rantanen? Should the Vancouver Canucks have traded with the Carolina Hurricanes, even if they did not get Nichis? I want to know what you guys think about that trade rumor. If you could make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.